Hello, everyone. Bob Perry back here with another episode of Fit Drivers Podcast brought to you by 10 Street. It's a really great pleasure for me to have this distinguished guest on, Martin Mongiello, who is a proud 30-year Navy retiree veteran, former chef to 6 presidents, and now works in the United States Presidential Service Center. The center is known for being a veteran-friendly employer for those who are disabled and injured. Additionally, Martin supports the St. Christopher Fund and many other organizations and is internationally known as a speaker on nutritional science and formulation. Martin, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule, and we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's a pleasure. It's an honor. Especially for a fitness podcast. I was at the gym last night.
Right on.
Ran for almost 30 minutes. That's a lot for a fat chef who's 60 years old. But tonight we're going back, and tonight's heavy lifting. So,
Great. Well, I thought we'd kick off, Martin, if you'd be kind enough. I know you have a lot, but take a few moments here and share with our listeners about your honorable background and how it started and where you're at today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think Brian Weibel from 10 Street, he said it best on stage in front of 1,000 people at the Wreaths Across America dinner in Washington, D.C. He said, being a sponsor of this event, is great and everything. And people will give you a hard time about how much money did we make and how many contracts did you cut, Brian, because the sponsorship was so expensive. And really, that's not what about being a sponsor is all about. And I think I picked that up in my background when I was little. I wanted to serve. I was in scouting. As a child, I did things like Operation Santa Claus, where we would go to homes in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with one Santa Claus per house. I would show up at the warehouse, and of course you're doing thousands of people are there wrapping gifts, and then they're sending them out on teams, and these are your 20 homes tonight, and one Santa Claus is assigned to each team and 19 elves, and this is the list of the homes you're going to: row homes, simple homes, right, homes that had no Christmas trees. That's really where my background began. For my life. And so at 17, it was kind of a natural one-off, like to think in your mind, I want to be part of something that is greater than just me on earth. Okay. And that's why I enlisted in the Navy. And 30 years later, I got my very treasured 30-year retirement certificate in 2014. So, man, that was 30 years from 17 years old all the way up to today. Today, now I'm 60. So
wonderful. And so tell us about your background working with veterans and, of course, drivers. And I know you're health conscious about a lot of this as well for the drivers. And let's talk about that and what that means.
So I feel like my respect for drivers has increased more and more and more and more every week of my life since I met Brad Bentley and Jimmy Mack and Dave Nemo. I already had tremendous respect for truckers and the transportation industry. I'm a big fan of, like, don't sit in that blind spot when they're driving. Get out of that blind spot. I'll even mention it to a driver that's driving, or to my wife, or, hey, you're lingering, man. Don't linger in the dead zone, okay? Help. And I do weird stuff too. I know the secret signals with the flashers. The flash the lights to let them know, come on out. If a truck's got the blinker on, trying to come out to pass, it's difficult. And then once they do, and then I go past them, I'll put my flashers on. That's the thank you. That's the, hey, buddy, I saw you, I got you, Yep. And so you learn these things, and then, you get married, and I've been with my wife for 20 years now. We have a whole family of truckers. We own some of the biggest rigs and some of the biggest equipment in the United States history. One part of our family with Darren and Jessica, they own a whole amusement company. So I tell people, like, they'll go with 2 huge 18-wheelers and a big ass, mobile home, $150,000 mobile home. And you may see, Jessica up there driving the mobile home, and you may see, her daughter driving one of the 18-wheelers at 20-some years old, or one of the sons. They've got two boys. But the job's not over when they get there. No. They then go into setting up generators and building one of 4 Ferris wheels that the family owns.
Yep.
Okay, as tall as 100 foot up in the sky with fully self-enclosed, and they have the old timey, and they've gone to the White House and set up on the White House lawn. And so that's some serious trucking responsibility there, because you're in a weird state like California or Seattle or Kansas, or just someplace, not that it's weird, but you don't live there, you don't know anybody there, and you're going to go through an inspection, a safety inspection, or we'll shut this whole carnival down.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So it's driving, it's unloading, it's building, it's cotter pins, it's safety. I mean, it's tremendous responsibility. And then, not to belabor the issue, and I promise I'll shut up, but we have 2 other brother-in-laws who drive every day. And we have another cousin of ours who's a dispatcher in the office every day. So wow. Truckers is us, the whole family from A to Z.
Wow. Well, some of the things you just said there certainly ring home for me. That's my background. I grew up in a family of professional drivers, and I drove myself at one point. And so I have 2 brothers still out there today driving in their 60s, and proud to say one's got 3 million accident free, and the other one's got 2 million accident free miles. Wow. And I drove when I was younger as well, but I always had a passion for what they do, because I'm much like you, just regular blue collar guy that understands that these men and women, they keep us going, keep America supplied. And our dad was gone when at holidays, when everybody else was home, because he's out delivering, right? And so unfortunately, he's one of the casualties of this business that I talked about. He retired, and when he did, he had the professional truck driver healthcare package: high blood pressure, sleep apnea, diabetic, and unfortunately it cut him short. So that's the reason I'm on the mission I'm on, to try and make sure all the drivers that I can reach and help have the opportunity to retire as healthy as they can, and enjoy their families, because
it's a good mission, because it is a sedentary job. You're in a chair, you're maxing hours, and in the old days, you could drive for 20 hours and no one would say anything, and then they made that illegal. But still, it's long hours, and you're in a sedentary position, sitting in a chair. I like the Planet Fitness option. I have a lot of friends in the industry of trucking, but also construction. And they tell me they have a Planet Fitness membership because they can go in there, they can work out, they can get a hot shower, they can sit up in the lounge on Wi-Fi, and there's pretty much one coast to coast wherever they go. So I was like, wow.
Plenty of parking, good parking, right? They pull the rig in.
Oh, yeah. And they're like, we may park like somewhere in the lot. I'll park the big rig in the lot. Off to the. So wow, that's kind of a cool idea. So holy
especially with you we're talking to you today about your background and all that, but also being a chef, and that's one of the biggest things, Martin, as you know, has changed, because way back in the day, when I know my dad and they were driving, there was no more small truck diners, right? Remember the big thing used to be, ask a truck driver to eat, because you can get a good home cooked meal. Well, you don't get that anymore, right? It's all fast food, which is
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, and they can't.
I've driven coast to coast and gained 36 pounds on a tour for half a year, coast to coast.
Yep, and there's no more of the mom and pop walking in there and see Chef Martin in the back there making fresh eggs and breakfast, right. And that's not happening anymore. It's all prepackaged and preservatives and all that kind of junk. So and one of the things that leads me into this next question, that I was reading about some of the things you do. I was really interested and wanted you to talk about when the kitchen meets the clinic.
Yeah. So
I was very interested in, because a lot of doctors I have on talking about, because drivers right now, the current statistics are, Martin, and then unfortunately they're going up. Out of 3.5 million drivers out there, almost 60% of the drivers operating on a short-term card, less than 1 year card, and so which means is they got 90 days, to make a change, or they lose their license, their ability to drive.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and food is really the big culprit of that. So I'm interested in about your message about the
So
kitchen.
yeah, I mean, for me, in the military, it all started as a military chef, a White House military chef. Um, you know, when they said we want all of the people that wear white coats, so all the doctors, all the chefs around the president to come down to the White House, is when we were informed the president has been told he could die soon, within a year. He may not even serve 1 year of the presidency. So Bill Clinton, through his personal friend, a physician, Dr. Dean Ornish, very famous, probably the premier cardiologist in the world, and he said, I want to be around for my grandkids. I want to live a strong life of power and vitality and have the strength, And so we made this film that Dean appeared in with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan and a lot of NBA stars and NFL stars and people that folks know, called Game Changers.
Yeah.
We did this with James Cameron a few years ago, and Game Changers 2 is on the slate as well with LeBron James.
Wow.
So, but we made this film, and Arnold come on and he's like, like when I was in the gym, you get your ass kicked if you didn't eat meat and you said you're a vegetarian. You couldn't do that back then, and he was right. You couldn't, because real men eat meat or have a steak. And of course, Jackie Chan said the same things. And the strongest man in the world came on, and he's busy lifting like 850 pounds. He lifted 4 guys on the film.
Wow.
Okay, all standing, holding an iron bar. He lifted 4 human males. And he said, people ask me, like, you're as strong as an ox, a bull ox. And he often will say, yeah, have you ever noticed an ox eating meat? They're like, no, I never have. Whoa. He's like, what do they eat? I'm not saying you're like a farmer, He's like, I don't know. I'm a trucker. Well, what the hell would I know? Grass? They eat the grass. He's like, yes, that's exactly right. And you come to find out that the strongest, most powerful, ferocious human males in world history were killing machines who assassinated and killed every day in front of 50,000 cheering fans in the Colosseum of Rome.
Right.
And actually the Colosseums all over the Roman world for 12 centuries. Okay. And you look at them, the gladiators. Okay. So you are going to die today if you do not defend yourself and make the crowd happy. And you might need to kill 3 people today, 6 people today, but it's your objective to live. Okay. And the reason you're strong and powerful and have vitality and go back at night to the harem, because they would placate them with a harem. The gladiators had a harem that they would go back and enjoy and stuff. And I'm not saying that that's right or anything, or that that's filthy or disgusting. The whole gamut that we're talking about Rome. Okay.
Right.
So how did these guys eat?
Right.
Did they have a steak? No. They now know the truth that most of the gladiators understood where raw power and ferocity comes from. It comes from being a vegetarian, which is what most of them were.
Right.
And through trial and error, I mean, you're watching the Game Changers, or you watch Dean go on to the Ellen Show, or you watch him go on to Super Soul Sunday with Oprah Winfrey. And they do all these tests where they gave the athletes a vegetarian meal one night, and then they gave them a meat meal the next night. And then they do all these tests at night. And so, they measure penis hardness, they measure vitality,
Right.
vigor, all those studies. And I'm just watching the Ellen show. I never saw Ellen DeGeneres completely speechless and turn red, pink, and purple while Dean was talking, while Dr. Ornish was talking. She didn't know what to say, which is very weird for Ellen DeGeneres not to have anything to say. Okay. I mean, she's a talk show host. So, you take this information on board. It's all about what we were taught. We know that over 50% of men that smoke are impotent. This is all horrific stuff that when you're 20, 30, you really don't care. And you're boozing and drinking. And, I don't drink anymore. I stopped smoking when I came back from, Operation Iraqi Freedom. And you talk to your insurance company and they ask you weird questions after I retired. Do you presently smoke? I was like, yes, I do. Oh, okay. I have to transfer you to a different office. I get on that phone with that person. That's like, the insurance is going to be $1,800 a month.
Sure.
I'm like, what is going on in this country and society? Welcome back from the military, sir. Is there anything I can help you with? Let me call Mutual of Omaha. You call around. You find out real quick that if you say you smoke, your insurance is through the ceiling. So you stop boozing, you stop smoking. Okay. I'm not saying I might not have a cigar now and then or a drink once a year or something. You stop all this harmful behavior, the eating, the not exercising, we know. The last thing I'm going to say is we know medically from the Preventive Medicine Research Institute and Dr. Ornish's, over 40 years of studies, okay, that our clients through Dr. Ornish, he's got clients of Oprah Winfrey, King Charles, Beyonce, Barbara Streisand, James Cameron. We know that exercise is the number one medical intervention on earth. There are no drugs or medical procedures that can hold a candle to exercise. It is the number one medical intervention of any disease for any human, anywhere, anytime, for any reason. And so I know it sucks, but going to exercise.
You're right, Martin. It's the most underrated medicine there is.
They're trying to put it in a pill. Yeah, they currently estimate with Sandoz Pharmaceuticals and Merck Laboratories and Johnson & Johnson, they think it's somewhere between a $90 to $160 trillion discovery. And they're like, we can't even, we're on a glide path of 40 to 80 years just to come up with that much money.
Yeah. And that's what makes it so hard and sad for the drivers, is because, as I say all the time, it's for them, it's accessibility, right? They don't have, accessibility to, like, you tonight, you're going to go back to the gym and you have the opportunity to go cook your own food and all that. There's a very small percentage of drivers out there who really do take the time to go shopping, prepare their food every Sunday before they go out for the week, do make it a point. And one of the things, I write monthly columns for the Trucker magazine, and this last year I've been featuring, and I've got a lot of good drivers in there that every month I spotlight the fittest driver, and I've got some drivers that look like they could be bodybuilders.
Wow.
They do take it on, and I've got a lot of drivers who just they do it to stay in shape. But one of the things, two things that there's a common thread. You mentioned one of them earlier, Martin, is one, the common thread is it's about safety, because they're much more alert in their safety out there on the road. And number two is they all have the same common interest. Whenever a driver comes up to me at an event and says, Bob, I want your help, the first question I ask them is, why today? Why not last week, last month? Why today? And 9 times out of 10, they were home that weekend. Neither the daughter or the granddaughter come up and said, hey, Dad, you're going to be here to walk me down the aisle, right?
That's right.
And so, yep. And so that's why it's important. So that's what part of my mission is to be able to get more carriers to provide more driver health education on how they can live out there on the road healthier and make.
And I think to do that, I've been telling Brad, I really want to get on the road and do some live cookery in the cab. I've been fascinated to see the 12-volt cooking devices that they sell.
Yeah.
Went to Love's stop. We have a huge one right here, a huge Love's, and we're building a Buc-ee's here. I'm right on the North Carolina, South Carolina state line. So
sure.
You truckers call me if you're coming through. I'm on Interstate 85 at the North Carolina, South Carolina line. I'll set up with you to meet you at Love's or Buc-ee's. We also have a big plaza here, right at the state line. We can do some cooking and figure out what we can get healthy. And biggest thing I could say, difference between 10 years ago and today has changed my life, is you can actually have groceries delivered to your truck at a truck stop.
Yep.
You can get fresh salad, fresh greens, carrot. If you've got a carrot peeler up in the cab, you can get a bunch of stuff delivered. And literally, you just tell them, like, I'm in the green K&L Industries truck with a full white 18-wheeler behind me. I'm in the parking lot, and I'll be standing outside. My name's Jeffrey with a yellow shirt, waving. And you can track them on your phone. The Walmart driver is nearing.
Yeah.
And it says, call them now. Hey, I'm over here in the yellow shirt in the green K&L trucking, and so you can get fresh stuff delivered. And if you have a medical need of a way that your doctor has advised you with your diet now of what you need to eat, like I know through my DNA analysis, I need to eat more spinach. Okay, I'm part of that largest genomic database in the world history, 23andMe. So you get that information and like what foods to stay away from and what foods you need to start eating. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Brad's been a good friend and a very great supporter of what I do for many, many years. And
he sure is.
I have to reach out to Brad. Maybe I really like your idea. Maybe there's something we could do. Could plan an event with yourself, me, 10th Street, and get some other people involved.
Yeah, and even if it's Charles Jones Jr. is coming through, this year's winner of the brand new Kenworth truck, or
yes,
we set up. Robbie Dunmeyer is going to be coming through on Wednesday the 16th, and then after that we've got Kayla Freenhauser, will be in April, and so I meet him at the stop. We go live because I transmit up to StreamYard Live,
sure,
from anywhere. We're cooking. I have a camera person with me. We're talking about what do you like to eat? How are you trying to eat now? And you know what we do? We actually get the damn Walmart delivery. We get it. Here they come. Here comes a driver in it says a red car. John, go over there and wave. And we get the fresh food from them. Cucumbers, carrots. You have a little cutting board. I grew up in the nuclear submarine force. There's no smaller kitchen. My kitchen was about the size of a large 18-wheeler cab.
Right.
Okay. And 5 guys in there working, doing 114 men dinner, 4 meals a day. So I'm used to small. I'm used to cramped quarters. It doesn't bother me. And if you have a couple little things with you, I say, like a cutting board, a vegetable peeler, a sharp knife, you really only need one knife, a workhorse with a fleet, maybe a paring knife and a French knife. You have your couple little things, and then you could start going fresh. Even you buy the salad, and this. You buy the salad and you think, oh, I'm eating healthy, but you start looking at the croutons or maybe white flour. It's got some 300, and you look at the calories of salad dressing, that little cup in the middle.
Oh my God.
Because the guy's like, or the gal, we have plenty of women drivers now. They're like, yeah, Marty, I was, looking at the thing. And yeah, if you look at most salad dressings, it's 300 to 320 calories. Okay, for like 1 or 2 tablespoons. Now, I got a tip for our listeners. Skinny Girl from Walmart is 5 calories. and they have like 8 flavors. And I'm a big guy. I'll eat greens. I'll eat bunny food. Okay. Even kale, bro. But I like to drench my crap. And I'm pouring Wishbone and Ken's and every other thing for years. I didn't know any better until I found Skinny Girl.
Right.
And I went from 300 calories per tablespoon to 5.
It's huge.
So they have everything. They have balsamic. They have ranch. They have chipotle or chipotle, however you say it. They have every flavor you could think of. And can a person in, they have that little cooler I saw at Love's. It plugs in.
Right.
It's a refrigerator. So you can bring some limited refrigerated items with you, like 2 or 3 of your dressings for, you're going to drive to the West Coast and back with 2 loads. And I'm going to be gone, baby, for 5 days. And you tell your wife goodbye. You can bring some healthy stuff with you to not destroy your life and pick up another 18 pounds over 4 months.
Nice.
So this my goal is, meet them in the parking lot, do an interview. What are you eating? What are you thinking about? What would you like to be eating? Let's get a delivery. Let's do it right now.
Right.
Let's get a fresh delivery. What do you feel like? You want mango? You want fresh mango? You want kiwi? What do you feel? Pineapple? We'll make a fruit salad. Would that be healthy, right?
And that's what's great about what you're talking about, Martin, is helping these drivers with some solutions that's easy, right? It's not like you got to have a full-blown kitchen like you talked about to make some of these things happen. And most all the tractors now have really nice refrigeration in them. Yes. And they can package that up and take them with them and have another 2 or 3 meals, down the road.
Yeah, you get a head of romaine. The iceberg lettuce is the worst. It's mostly 90% water, no nutritional content, no minerals, no vitamins really in there. Did I know that? No, I did not know that all the time. I don't know everything. I will read. I will study. I'm 60. I'm still learning.
Right. So my last big question I got to ask you. So in your history with, what was it, 6 presidents?
Well, we say 7, but Trump, of course, did 2 terms non-consecutively, like Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, out of those 6, what was one was the most healthiest minded, I guess, when it came to you having you prepare menus?
So let me just tell you right now, all of them would love to have a rib and burger joint in the basement if mama would let them get away with it. So all of them. And people ask me, does Don really eat a cheeseburger at 2:00 in the morning in bed? I'm like, yeah. Okay, with a Diet Coke. If that's what he wants, it's awesome. Well, I heard that George W. Bush loves a peanut butter and honey sandwich. Yeah, he does. That may sound weird, but whatever they enjoy in life is what you're here to deliver. And being a simple guy, I never minded. The first White House chef I served with, the executive chef of the White House, he was a very fancy French chef. He did not like working with dashi kombu and 10-foot-long seaweed and tofu and seitan and tempeh and miso paste. And I mean, he literally went, and somebody saw that and told the Clintons that he, so he, depending on which book you read, I say there's always 2 books published. One says, they were fired. The other one says they resigned. So depending on which book you read, but he vacated the residence quickly. So how does that work, Martin, with the crazy scheduling there? I mean, I'm sure you can't have regular design breakfast, lunch, dinner times or whatever. So what happens when the president, the first lady or whatever, it's like you said, 9:00 at night, 10:00 at night, and now they've got a crave and they want something to eat. How does that work? Well, let me tell you about 9:00, 10:00 at night. I tell people it's operational flexibility. So if you're in the military, like I was, you could leave your attitude at the door. Chefs cannot chef behind a grill. We actually cook.
Right.
Okay. So you got to let go of the chef thing and stop beating people over the head with it at some point. You can only cook behind a grill. You can't chef. Okay. So, that's the first thing. And when I call down to the president's house and say, hey man, it's 7:00. I thought dinner was going to be at 6. I mean, and we were at 52 people. How you doing? How's it looking? Oh yeah. Marty, right? I'm like, yeah, Chef Marty. How are we? Oh man, no, bro, no. Listen, they came in with the nuclear briefcase. They brought up NORAD and the Pentagon, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're doing some stuff right now to test some stuff. They actually cracked and broke the codes and had the president reading the codes for today, back and forth with NORAD. Dude, think like 8 o'clock, maybe 9. Is that okay, Marty? I'm like, sure. But what do you think? Like maybe 60? No, bro, please. The whole American soccer team left. Well, I'm just down to like 3 now. Mommy, daddy, and baby, Chelsea, and that's okay with you, right? I'm like, oh, sure. Well, I'm gonna scrap all this chicken that we cooked off. I'm gonna be making chicken salad for tomorrow. We're just gonna have 3, 8, or 9. You'll call back. Yeah, hey, buddy. Hey, yeah, Chef Marty, 10:30. Are we still dinner? It's 10:30, my brother. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they didn't call you. I'm like, no, you're supposed to call me, but no one called me, man. How we looking? Oh my gosh, no, you're not watching TV. I'm like, no, I'm. Put the TV on. Put it on right now. No, we're putting it on right now. Okay. This is what I tell people. Like, if you have an attitude, you're not pissed, are you? No. Are we angering you in any way? Did we ruin a bunch of? Oh no. We didn't lose food. We're not, the president has to pay for everything privately out of their pocket. We didn't lose a whole bunch of food now, did we? With an extraneous bill, because Hillary's going to hit the ceiling. I'm like, oh no, we never lose anything. Everything's cool. Well, are we still at 3 out of 10:30 or 11? I think it's going to be like 15, and you should bring everything over here to the house at this point. They're going to be up till 2 or 3 in the morning. The CIA's here, and they're talking about some heavy stuff, man. Okay, I can't even say it into the phone right now. I'm like, I'll come down there with everything. That's not a problem. So I tell people, man, you had best have a good attitude of what it's like to prepare dinner. This is not the civilian chef at the White House who goes home at 7 every night. You might be up as a military chef until 8, 10, 12, 2 in the morning. You have no idea. And at 2 in the morning, they may turn you into a bartender.
Yeah.
Dinner was over at midnight, and we still need you to hang around. We don't know how long we're going to be. Let's get some finger sandwiches and start doing drink. We had a portable bar on wheels. It rolled out, and it opens up, and you start with, I'll have a gin Ricky, and my wife wants a pink squirrel. You know how to make those, don't you, boy? Yes, sir. A gin Ricky and a pink squirrel. Did you? Not a problem. So, I tell people, like, you had best have your head on a swivel and be a happy-go-lucky person. And you know what? It's no different in the billionaires' homes. I go to these private estates, yachts, private airships. The airship could have a dance floor and a jacuzzi with a king-size bed and the longest belt buckle, for the seat belt across the whole king-size bed, and they're the same way.
Interesting. They're the same way. Much like the drivers, right? Their schedule is not for the standard, right? Everything changes. It's all moving target for them. So, Martin, this has certainly been very entertaining. You certainly gave us a nice peek behind the curtain, and I appreciate your hard work you do for the veterans and also your interest in driver health and well-being. And like I said, I'm gonna reach out to our friend Brad and let him know that I'm up for some type of event if he's interested. And talk about
and prayers up for Brad today. He's in for a procedure this week, and it's pretty serious. So we want to be thinking about Brad. If you don't pray, religion doesn't have that, but let's keep Brad in mind, everybody.
Absolutely. Good blessings to Brad. All right, my friend. Thank you so much, Martin.
Take care, buddy.
Take care, man.